Well, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing something monumental, at least in the hobby of model trains for a company. Rapido has produced their first steam locomotive, and they have a series of steam locomotives called Icons of Canadian Steam, and today it's the Royal Hudson we're taking a look at. Yes, this just released not too long ago. So we're going to take a look at all the stuff on the box because it's Rapido and they really focus in on the details. Then we're going to take a look at the locomotive itself, see what you get if you order a Rapido Hudson steam locomotive, Royal Hudson steam locomotive. So let's get started next. Alright, there's the label end of the box. This is a Royal Hudson with DCC and sound, more specifically ESU LOKSound. And it has a call tender number 2850. So let's talk about packaging, because this is Rapido after all. There's the Canadian Pacific logo with a little beaver up top. Royal Hudson, a photo of the locomotive. One of the locomotives, one of the versions of the Royal Hudson. There's lots of versions. We got this blue one here. You got Canadian Pacific. Even Southern Railroad ran a Hudson for, I believe, just about a year down here in the United States. So those are all the sides. And the back now, you guys might want to pump this up to 1080p HD and pause your screens if you want to read the back, because we're going to just give a quick rundown. The crown, it talks about all the details of both the actual Royal Hudsons and the HO scale model. I might even use it to cheat a little bit when we're talking about the review. So let's dig in. Now this cover just slides like so, but be careful because you can tear it. It's not paper thin, it's like cardstock. Whatever you call it. You got the box itself, another different graphic on the front, showing kind of a black and white, hyper-exposed Royal Hudson. Inside, exact same graphic art on the manual. And the manuals are always cool because there's Easter eggs in them. Not that they're upside down, that's the other side. It's French, but anyway. Several pages, over a dozen, looks like 17, 19 on each side, covering configuration variables, all the lights, sounds, which we'll cover some of in the review. I'll cover more than usual because this is Rapido's first steam locomotive, and it is kind of a momentous occasion for them and fans of Rapido. But there is a quick rundown again, if you want to pause, of all the different functions. 25 almost maxed out with the 28 functions capable on the decoder. White River Productions flyer. Exploded parts diagram in case a part breaks. You can correspond the part and say, hey Rapido, I need this part. And a flyer going over the next Icons of Canadian Steam release, or one of them. The D10. Alright, paperwork's out of the way. You guys aren't here for that. I get it. Let's look at the locomotive in the box. Drive wheels with traction tires, spare set there. Numbers, which appear to be etched metal, and Canadian Pacific to be applied to the model, along with a coupler, if you so choose to switch out to the Canadian Pacific version of this locomotive. One boy, that is tight. Tightly packed there. They say the tighter you pack a locomotive, less movement, less chance of damage, so I guess A+ there. Look at that, that's a beaut. Alright, pull this out. Ooh, die cast. Heavy. And we'll set that down. And the tender's lighter. Talk about some tight packaging. Just need to hit the gym again, I think. Tender's plastic. Really cool 3D crest there. And there's these little foamy things I gotta pull out. Check the Loco to make sure we don't have anything and get everything set up so we can take a closer look. So this little fella is a 464 steam locomotive. And for those of you who want to know how you get the wheel configuration, it's pretty simple. The lead truck has 4 wheels. The drivers, there's 6 total. And the trailing trucks have 4. So 4, 6, 4. Bam, pretty easy, right? Looking over here at the front, you've got a crest on the front. Again, very nice and three-dimensional. Finely printed. LED headlight. You get the smoke box area up here with a handrail that wraps around and goes all the way down each side of the locomotive. Pilot has a coupler here, realistic looking coupler, couple hoses leading to that, and a little bar here along with some step detail and some grab iron detail, and another little crown three-dimensionalized on the side of the Loco. Number boards on this version are up on the smokestack, which is right here, and you get a lot of steam detail up top, including the dynamo further back. Bell is mounted here, more handrails and plumbing adorning the side of this thing. Going to the side of this thing, you've got the side rod detail that we were talking about where the drivers are, eccentric crank up here, and firebox detail right above the trailing trucks. Another logo here. You got cab windows which appear to move. Yep, move forward and aft there. And more handrails going up to the entry door. Plumbing back here for blowdowns of the steam locomotive. So I'll give you a little better shot as I turn this around. Now it looks like they have an 8-pin connector. So you can connect to the tender fairly easily. But way inside, I've got to find a way to show you this because it's pretty cool. There is a boiler backhead detail with gauges and such. So let me find a way to get you seeing that. Alright, we are all zoomed in. I'm going to put some light here. You can see the gauge detail up in the top right. Right about there. But you see right here, where the butterfly doors of the firebox are open. Inside there is an LED that flickers red. I don't know how well I'll be able to show you that, if at all, because this is a closed vestibule system, or I can't remember the name. I always say the name wrong for the tender connection. I think it's a vestibule. But it's pretty closed up. It's completely up against here, so it would be hard to see. But that does flicker. You can see it through the windows. We'll try to show you that maybe. But hand-painted on detail, like the gauges, if it's not printed. I don't think it's printed. And a couple different colors going on all up in here. So on the back end, you get a better look with some light at the plumbing on the back end and the mill 8-pin connector to the tender. Gonna leave this super zoomed in version. You can see some of the different detail on this side, including more plumbing going down to the front. I believe that's maybe the throttle control. 2850 on the side. Logo there. And you get a side view here just to the left of some of the boiler backhead detail. There's cab roof vents. And we're back up to the front of the Loco. There's the cab roof vents. They do not adjust to my knowledge unless I'm just doing it wrong. Nope, I don't see any adjustment. And a quick rundown of the top there. So you can see all the top detail. A little bit of oil on the case from transit over to here, but there is the top. All right, here's the tender. This area here is going to flex as you turn, so the locomotive turns around the curve. It goes every which way and stays positive pressure up against the cab for the most part. So there's a lot of action there. You got to be careful. Don't break anything. Coal load looks very realistic, along with the handrails going around the coal load. 8-pin female end of the connector. But really what's most impressive and what sticks out to me, and you can see it best from this angle, is the three-dimensional crest on the side of the tender. So I believe those parts you can add to here for Canadian Pacific for a later version. There's all sorts of different versions of this thing. There's 3 stack styles: streamline, straight, and bathtub. And you've got correct tender trucks, Commonwealth or Buckeye, depending on the locomotive. You'll also get a nice view of the water hatch, some tender detail there. The back end, which has a reverse operating light, also LED, crew access ladder, rear coupler, and some coupler cut lever detail along with air hoses, brake line detail. Flip that over. Rapido's known for their underbody detail, and you see some plumbing there, along with the trucks. So there is a quick look at the tender. Let me just check some of the underbody detail here, and you do see some plumbing. Again, Rapido always hides some cool stuff out on the underside of these locomotives because they're that detailed, so that's pretty sweet. Alright, another note that kind of occurred off camera, the coupling of the locomotive and tender is a little different than I've ever seen in the industry. You've got the fixed 8-pin, male and female. There is a guide, kind of a side connection there that you just have to be very careful. Do your due diligence in being careful, because I could see how you could damage or bend pins fairly easily. So you want to take your time when you connect these. Now that they're connected, you can see how that is right up against the tender, or the tender is vestibule, I believe it's called, or something, is right up against the locomotive, and there's not hardly any gap, and that will flex around 22-inch curves is what's recommended. I hear according to Rapido, it'll work on as little as 18-inch curves. Alright, it doesn't say start up in the manual, but because it's ESU, I believe it's just F8. There we go, it's coming alive now. Let me just get it back into frame slightly here and go over some functions, just making sure everything was working. 0 is headlight. You hear the dynamo come on with that, which powers all the accessory lighting on a steam locomotive and anything that needs power, really. 1 is bell. Oh, very nice. 2 is whistle. Now there's different whistles selectable with SV9 with a value of 0, 1, 2, or 3. You've got a coupler here, coast mode, firebox, and coal shoveling here. Now you have classification lights that are going to be hard to see in this light. I'll show you a little later. They cycle through white and green. So you turn them off, and then every time you turn them back on, it's a different color. F7's dimmer, which works fine. 8 is drive sounds mute. F9 is heavy load mode. 10 is independent brake. 11 is smoke unit. Does have synchronized chuffing sounds. Master cylinder cocks, F12. F13 is cab and ground lights, which we'll look at all the lights later. Number boards on and off in the lighting section. There's several other sounds. Doppler whistle, injector, ash dump, blowdown, safety valve, air pump slow, blower draft, and oil burner blower. So lots of sounds, 25 functions in total. Alright, I wasn't going to leave you hanging without hearing the other whistles when I already mentioned there's other whistles. So CV163 can be programmed to 1, 2, or 3. It's standard as 0, which you already heard the whistle on that one. Here is 1, which is a British Columbia excursion whistle from 2860. And it is playable. As you can see there, different lengths of holding F2 gave me different results. Okay, now I'm going to program CV163 with a function of 2. This is CPR 2816. Now I'm going to do CV163 with a value of 3. This is Southern Railway Excursion Whistle from 2839. Hey, that's pretty sweet. You can see the firebox flicker reflect in the cab back there. That is not a disco ball or a party going on in the cab. That is the firebox flicker. So, let's look at lighting. The headlight, nice goldish white looking headlight, LED, should last a long time. I'm going to look at what it says for lights in the functions here. And the first one is class lights. And it says white and green. There is green. I'm colorblind and even I can see that's green, so that's pretty good. And you turn them off again with the press of F6 and then back on and it's white. First time in HO, to my knowledge, different class light colors programmed into a steam locomotive, so that's cool. You've got your headlight and your dimmer, F7. I already talked about the headlight's color. Now I talked about the smoke earlier. It does not have smoke. That function that's listed as smoke is for if you want to install your own smoke unit. There's not a quick drop or anything. It would have to be a fairly professional install. And so you're going to have to add your own smoke if you want it. F13, it says cab and ground lights.
This is Canada calling.
All right, so I don't know what I did. I hit a button. Quick slow speed control in the process. One speed step. Two. Looks pretty smooth, but you be the judge. 3. Very nice slow speed control. 4 and 5. Guessing that Canadian national anthem, I believe it is, was one of the Easter eggs that Rapido likes to put into the functions. All right, everything is hooked up. Let's see how it pulls. All right. You hear the rod clank. Coast mode. So 5.1 is what it capped out at. That's 75 freight cars. It can easily handle any passenger consist you throw at it. It's realistic anyway. There's a brake squeal. You get to hear some more sound variations with that pull test, so that's always good. Alright, the locomotive itself is a beefcake. And I know that's a little hard to see, so I will change the angle there, but that's 0.560 kilograms, 1.23 pounds just for the Loco. Without the tender, that's 1 pound, 4 ounces. It's kind of growing on me here, 20.1 ounces. I'll add the tender, and you get a total of 730 grams, 0.730 kilograms, 1.61 pounds, so over 1.5 pounds. That's 1 pound, 9.7 ounces. Or 25.7 ounces total. Again, 730 grams. So, locomotive, I believe, is die cast. Tender is definitely plastic. Very heavy, which adds to that good pulling power. All right, let's check coupler. It's sitting low on the back. Sitting low on the front as well. Well, folks, there's your look at the Royal Hudson. Good puller at over 5 ounces of pull, and great sounds, smooth operation, good detail, firebox flicker, which you don't see in HO scale steam locomotives, to my knowledge, and classification lights with different colors, both green and white, that you don't see in HO to my knowledge. So, nice industry breaking detail, and a nice start for Rapido in the steam department. With that said, I'm going to leave you with a run-by of the locomotive, and we'll see you next time right here on my channel. Take care.